From personal trainer to a real estate agent, the journey to success, what does it take?
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, is it Saturday? It's Saturday. Yes.
It's Saturday. Still no sun.
Still no sun, and it's getting chillier out there. Oh my
It's
goodness.
sunny
mate.
inside, but not outside.
That's it. Good morning, Mr. Novak. How are you, mate?
How are you? Good, buddy. You?
I'm great. This is for me, this is week 2 that I'm back at the gym. Going
Yep.
back to my roots, going back to what I really, really love doing, and I needed to make that commitment. I think I've been just documenting you every couple of days, just telling you I'm back, and I mean it.
Update. So for people that may not know, Nath, you're in commercial. It's been a year now, year and a half in commercial. What a wonderful career to watch. You were a personal trainer, very fit, very tort, and decided to change to get into real estate. Why?
Oh, look, for me, and this is going to sound so bloody cliche, I got to love wearing a suit. I love representing myself. And I went to Catholic schools, I went to private schools growing up, high school wise, suit and tie was the everyday norm. Do you know what I mean? And for me, putting this on was like a staple piece to being me throughout the day. But at the same time, I found it quite admirable, the industry. Real estate is, and I feel like a lot of people need to dig deeper and to understand it. It's not just someone rocking up in a suit and representing your asset. There is so much more behind it. And, for me, it's seeing that, over the course of a year and a half now, I'm definitely not saying that I'm successful, but it is definitely a journey to success. And I'm starting to experience that and transitioning from one industry to another.
And there's things that are in common that we're going to go through today, that there's traits that are common to building a good, healthy, sustainable career, not just for real estate, but for any sort of industry. There's certain traits that people have, they possess, they implement, they consistently run, that actually end up becoming sort of bankable for happiness, bankable for money, bankable for health. They're the things we want to run through now. And you're really at Nath is at a great point now where Nath can actually reflect on his previous work and perfect over the last year or two, and his previous work over the last 5 or 10 years in a different industry, and see those things that are in common. Say, okay, it's sort of a heart moment where you're going, great, this is, if I do, more repeat, this is good.
Yeah. And I think one of the first touch points we're going to have, and it's funny, it's I remember correctly, it's when I met you. You asked me 2 questions. You're like, 1, what do you want to do? Like, what's the goal plan? What's the plan moving forward here? And I said to you, I want to grind. And you're like, well, grind it out. But the second thing you said to me was,
I remember I was surprised. I'm like,
great. Yeah, right. And then the second one was like, have you joined the 5 a.m. club yet? And at that point in time, I'd already been out of the fitness industry for a few years. And for everyone that's watching, for everyone that's joined, I was a personal trainer for a good solid 3 years. And that was not including, of course, the time it took to become one. But 3 years I dedicated my life to going down that path and training people. But I was definitely very headstrong when it came to, if I was a personal trainer, if I was training people, I was going to get up early. I was going to be one of the first people that was at that gym, because if there were people there that were watching me succeed in that sense, wow, that's just, it adds fuel to the fire for those sorts of people, because like getting up early and really putting that effort in is quite a difficult task. Then when you mold it over to real estate, for instance, it goes hand in hand. Getting up early and being able to prepare yourself mentally for the day ahead. We're always getting bombarded by calls, texts, and emails, but getting ahead of the curve and being one of the first ones that's responding, being right there, people admire that. They'll come into the office, they'll see you there. People will see an email going, mate, did he really just reply at 5 a.m? Like, do you know what I mean? It's that. Yep. For me, it goes hand in hand with this industry.
Okay, so if we're gonna start building on this and watching, so lesson 1 would be you got to start early. You got to catch up on the day, whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a real estate agent, whatever industry you got to do. Generally, not always, but most of the time, and generally, you've got to catch up early. So you've got to start early, and the 5 a.m. club is a good lead-in for that. It's almost a bit of a cheat. If you can do it, it's going to help.
Definitely. And I think touch point number 2 for us to stem over is the power of reading. I found, dedicating, and Luke, thank you for the comment there. Up early in the office first was big for me. Fantastic. It is. It's such a big thing. And like I said, people admire that value. But jumping back to the touch point that we're on, for me, you're not going to become successful if you're not still learning and you're still progressing in your field. And by reading and dedicating time to understand different parts, you're not going to know everything. Like, God, I'm in commercial real estate. I'm always learning something every day. But the only way that I'm going to be able to grow and learn is obviously it's in the circumstances that I'm in, but it's reading about commercial. It's reading, or not even just commercial though. I think it's at least finding that time to sit and to apply that knowledge into yourself. I think it's just so key. And it definitely worked for me when I was personal training, because I had a big, it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger encyclopedia. It was about that thick, and I would just go through it every day, finding something to nitpick about it in a good way.
Yep. And sometimes you're even going over the same stuff, but it's like embedding.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to embed facts into your mind. You're never going to be that. I mean, look, you know what? If you're that kind of person that can read something once and you've absorbed it straight away, hats off to you. I knew people like that in high school, and it was you're looking at your side, you're looking at the other side, and you're like, bloody hell. But for some, it's a work in progress. It's repetitiveness. It's a pattern that you have to follow, for sure.
All right, so that's getting up 5 a.m. club. That's making sure you read a good, as part of your day, whether it's half hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, reading something healthy. What's the next one?
Okay, the most obvious one of all for me, I think, touch point 3 is you've got to get moving. You've got to get moving. I think it's quite monotonous if you've got an office job, for instance, you're walking in, you're sitting at your desk, you're behind the computer. I think a lot of us can think that being like that, being responsive, is you succeeding, or that's you doing your job, but that's just half the work there. You really need to get up and to do something, to apply yourself. And, when we're looking at personal training, for instance, yes, it was getting up and being quite physical. It was, when I'm with my clients, it was not just telling them what to do, it was showing them what to do and being a part of that journey with them. When you're in real estate and you're there, behind your computer, no one's going to know the hard work and effort that you're doing or that you're trying to project. You've got to get up there. You've got to get out. You've got to meet people. It's how you build relationships. It's how you generate good communication skills. So I feel they really go hand in hand in that element.
Out there in front of people, physically moving, getting out there, doing that. You know what a good thing is? I actually, believe it or not, on Wednesday night, I had a family friend come over and wanting to start into real estate. He rang me during the day and said, "Can I have some advice?" And I said, "Mate, come over. We'll have a bit of a chin wag." Same thing. He was actually a physical trainer, and that was one of the things that I spoke with him about. Was it's one of the things that I said was if you see guys come out of the military, they're fabulously successful in any trade that they choose, because of a lot of the patterns they develop in the military. So I think also a lot of what we're talking about today is developing really healthy patterns, and that's why these guys out in the military do really well, because they'll find a pattern, they'll learn the pattern, they'll execute. The repetition's incredible. So they don't do something that works and then drop it. They'll do something that works and then keep executing consistently. And that was one of probably the greatest thing I can, because I get asked a lot from sort of now in my 40s from people in their 20s, and they're saying, what have I got to do? What do I got to do? And it's almost like they're looking for the secret sauce. But there's not. The consistency is a big one. A personal trainer has that. Someone in the military has that. If you don't have that, you've got to adopt that to succeed, not just in real estate, but in any industry. So when you join that 5am club, or when you do that reading that you're talking about, it's got to be consistently done, day in, day out. There's magic in the pattern.
Absolutely. And within the pattern, you learn, and this is something we talked off air, is balance. You start to create a balance within yourself that then transcends outside of yourself and then projects into the real world. I love that though. There's no like this secret sauce. I almost think of it as like, the secret herbs and spices, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people and people did try to pull that out of me too when I was a personal trainer. Like you see people, they're training, they're getting bigger, they're getting leaner, and it's like, what are you doing? Why I'm doing that? And it's like, yeah, you probably are, but it comes from here first. It really comes from here first. And that was a method I learned when I was with clients, is getting it out of them from in here so that it could come out in the real world. And it's like when with real estate, it's finding what they really want, what they're really there for, and then translating it over to getting the deal done. Looking
next one.
The next touch point, and I feel this is a really, really important one. Some might not agree. I'm quite strong on this. I always felt giving back was a big one for me. Yes, clients paid me to provide them a service, and I gave them the service to the best of my ability. But when I mean giving back, I went outside of that. Again, it falls back to, I was representing me as a person. I was representing the business and the industry. I actually went out and I used to donate. I used to dedicate my time to giving back to the less fortunate. And for me, that was something that I felt helped me succeed, because it was a good feeling that came from it. And I'm always about good feelings. But it's a reflection of yourself. People learn to appreciate that, and you kind of learn to teach people that along the way. And a lot of successful people, it's not just the money as well. It doesn't just mean because you've got a lot of money, it means you're giving more. It's about finding that time to do those sorts of things.
It's probably the greatest gift.
Yeah.
It's probably the greatest gift, and I think. It's, for instance, if I've got a great client, it's one thing to buy them a nice bottle of champagne or something to say congratulations. It's another thing to take them out to dinner for a meal and sit with them for a couple of hours and learn about them, talk about them, and vice versa. It's I think time, giving back time to people that need it. It's huge, and it's a two-way street, really. I think you they're definitely going to benefit. You definitely benefit. I think it's one of those things. But you can, with a world so short of time, you can doubt yourself on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, don't get me wrong. I find myself saying most of the time, and I think the guys can agree upstairs, is, where's this bloody day gone? I need more hours. I need more time. But when you're learning to give back and you're learning to structure your day and learning to allocate time, certain things, there are people out there that could really, really help from that little bit of time that you can provide. We're not just here to make deals. We're not just here, just to give a little something and to let go. It's about seeing the process through, seeing people happy, and projecting that happiness, in all ways.
Next one.
Next one. And I think it's let's touch point number, let's say the last touch point. It's little by little. And we've kind of dabbled over it over this conversation that we've been having, but little by little. And one of the primes is, if you've got a goal, if you've got, a dream, And it's funny enough. So Jerry Seinfeld is actually one of my bloody favorite comedians, and I love the show Seinfeld. I bloody watch it all the time. I'm big on having a good laugh. But they have been known of implementing a calendar method, whereby obviously you've got a nice big calendar. You're looking at a set date, set time, a nice big old X on that calendar, and you're telling yourself when you get to that point, that's when you're going to have achieved at least one of your goals. So
Love it.
For me, it's little by little, it's every day, it's every week, it's every month, getting closer and closer to something that you want to achieve. And whether that be in a personal training sense or in a real estate sense. And it's something that we've, again, you know, as a team, as a sales team upstairs, we've given ourselves goals for this quarter that we're now in. And it's working towards those goals. And it's not being they're not unrealistic. They're definitely realistic, but it's just the power of putting something in front of you and working towards it. Because if you're not, then you're just walking in blind to your day.
And you know what else? And probably I'll put it in different words.
Yeah.
And this is something I had a conversation with Dan on the other night when he came over, the personal trainer, cousin of Lisa's. I said, I used the words walking the grey line.
Yeah.
It's a line of consistency. It's a line of loyalty. It's a line of excitement, and it's a line of sometimes boredom. But walking the grey line is very, very hard. Sticking to one industry is very, very hard. Sticking to one property and not buying and selling and buying and selling and holding that one property for 30 years is very hard. Sticking to one marriage is very hard. You know, it's one of those sticking to what there's, if you look at most of the people that have been truly successful at what they've done, they've been very good at walking the grey line. They're not chopping and changing. They find beauty in the consistency. They find beauty, and then they spice it up in many ways. But that's when you really get good at it. And when I was speaking to Dan, I was saying it's 10,000 hours before you become an expert. Mm-hmm. It's 50,000 hours before you become a professor at what you're doing. And that really is walking the grey line. Whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a real estate agent, if you truly want to be good at something, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a bicycle ride, whatever it is, a pro bike rider, whatever you want to be, it's walking that grey line. That is the one thing I would say when you're taking your personal trainer that's successful or to a real estate agent that's successful, you've got to stick to it. And it's very easy to look over the fence and look at someone else's grass, and it's much harder to continue looking after your own grass under your nose and keep watering it. And you can see Luke Moroney, who's following us today, this is a guy that's stuck to his business, stuck to his industry, and is successful in what he's doing. It's a trait that every single person has. It's walking the grey line. That's the one thing I would say would be most powerful that I can teach out of today's sesh.
I love it.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. Can't forget, that's Sensei Sato for you right there. I love it.
Have a good day, buddy.
You too, Mark. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone have a beautiful day, and hopefully the sun's going to come out soon. But, yeah, enjoy. See you, bud.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.